Hi guys, welcome to Buck and Jack. I'm Adrian and today I thought I'd share my views on buying pre-owned watches, the risks involved and where to do it. Before we get started, wristwatch check. I'm wearing my modified Rolex Submariner LV. I have bleached the bezel insert to give it a bit of ghosting. It was just a mess about. The bezel insert is aftermarket after all. And I quite like the effect. It's quite cool. I'm not sure if I'll keep it, but we'll see. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Hit subscribe down there because we talk about watches and I drink coffee. Originally this video was going to be an unboxing of this new watch that I've just bought. It's a CWC military watch, the MOD issue watch. I know very little about it, but I basically got a notification from eBay saying, I get notifications all the time about watches, and this came up and it was quite cheap. It was about 60 quid. I've always wanted a military watch. Dad's in the military, so it's quite a cool connection. And then that made me think about buying watches online and how there's a big stigma around buying watches on eBay, and thought I'd just share my views on it. Before I do that, I thought I'd set kind of the scenario. So just for argument's sake, let's think about someone's trying to buy a Rolex Datejust, very, very common watch. So I think there's three factors involved when buying a watch. You've got two factors which are the person itself. So you've got one person who is obsessed about watches and they're buying a Rolex Datejust because they feel that's the watch that suits them and they've learned a lot about. You've then got a second person who's buying a Rolex Datejust because they want to be seen wearing a Rolex and it's a little bit blingy and that fits in with their style. Then you've got a third factor that is risk. So either person, the person who's obsessed with watches and does a lot of research and has learned a lot about watches, they can still mess up on something like eBay. There's a lot of fakes on eBay, but there are a lot of fakes in the world. But there seems to be a big stigma around eBay that you shouldn't buy a watch on eBay because it's going to be fake. I've sold many watches on eBay and I don't touch anything that's fake. I know this bezel insert is fake, but that's because my real one is in the box. So there are some genuine people on eBay, but what you need to do is not be that person who just wants a Rolex because they just want a Rolex, because they won't know what they're looking for and they will fall for the cheaper models, which are probably Frankenstein watches, or they are just straight up fakes. There's a guy who messaged me on Instagram. He bought a watch off a guy at a house party for $1,000 and it was Rolex Submariner. And the guy messaged me, obviously slightly hungover the morning after, and suddenly had that sinking feeling of up. And it was a fake watch, so he lost that $1,000. Basically, you've got two types of people. You've got one person who doesn't really know much about watches, but just wants a Rolex because it's an aspirational brand and they want to be able to show that they've got a Rolex. They might go onto eBay, and I'd say eBay is probably a bad place for them. You then got the first person who spends months learning about watches, and before they pull the trigger, they have done all the research they possibly can. Now, risk still plays a part in that person. If you go onto any watch forum, you'll see someone saying, I've just bought this off eBay, what do you guys think? Does it look genuine? Why are you doing that after you've bought it? So that third factor of risk has played a part in that person messing up that deal. Don't you ever hand over cash until you're happy that that is a genuine watch. And if you've got the feeling this isn't a genuine watch, then don't make the purchase. So anyway, that's my views on eBay. I think eBay is an incredible place to buy watches because you can pick up some really, really interesting pieces, especially vintage pieces. So Chrono24 is another place to buy watches. Things that I dislike about Chrono24 is it's more expensive. People tend to charge more because they're usually dealers, but individuals can also sell on Chrono24. The other annoying factor that I find is Chrono24, you can list a watch. I think you pay something like £50 per listing and then 10% when you sell. But if you don't sell your watch within 3 months, you get your money back. You get that 50 quid, that 60 quid back again. So what people do is they list their watch and then they just leave it there. They do the sale off Chrono24. So quite often you'll email someone and say, hey, I'd like to buy your watch. You say, oh, sorry, it's sold. Take the listing down there. It's just annoying. I see from the seller's point of view, it's a way of them doing business but without having to pay for it. From the buyer's point of view, it's just an absolute pain in the ass. So I just use Chrono24 as a reference point. I'll go on there and see what price things are selling for, and again, I just like to see what's around. It's interesting. So it's moving away from from the kind of marketplaces like eBay and Chrono24, you've then got the big brands like Watchfinder, Watchmaster in Germany, and then Chronex, which I think is London and Europe. So Watchfinder, I visited a couple of their boutiques, and they're what I dislike about the pre-owned watch industry, or pretty much the watch industry, is that it's quite pretentious, and I just don't connect with them. There's a massive premium on their watches. I know a few people who have a very good relationship, and they have account managers and things, and they're able to get good deals, but it's just not a company that I connect with. Watchmaster in Germany, I've bought a watch off them. I enjoyed their customer service and the whole interaction, but I don't trust watch companies who don't take photographs of the actual watch that they're selling, especially with Rolex, with the big brands and pieces that have investment value. You have to see the actual watch you're buying. For example, the shape of the O in Rolex can determine whether that's the watch you want or it isn't the watch you want, or whether there's a T on the dial or there isn't a T on the dial. So when I bought my LV from Watchmaster in Germany, I made them go fetch it from the safe and take photographs of it. It was just crude photographs on a mobile phone, but I wanted to see the actual watch I was buying, because I had to make sure that all the tiny details fit the specification that I was looking for. And so I don't trust watch companies who don't take photographs or don't share photographs of the actual watch you're buying. If you go to Watchmaster now, you'll see there's old pictures connected to different watches, and it just doesn't make sense. I think that's crazy. And then Chronex, I'm not really going to talk about Chronex. I think it's a horrendous company. The photographs that they have of their watches are shockingly bad, and they'll have one photograph of a £10,000 watch and they expect it to sell, which I think is absolutely nuts. So it's a poorly run company, and they're clearly just in it for the money as opposed to the customer service side of things, the whole customer journey. I think that's so important. So if we group them, you've got the marketplaces, you've got the big resellers, and then I think you have the independent resellers. I think they're the ones who you can trust the most. Now, that isn't to say you can walk down a high street of some little village and see an independent watch seller and just trust them straight away. All of these places, you need to create a relationship and do your own judgment. So it all comes back to that person buying that Datejust on eBay. If you're that person who doesn't know really what they're buying, they just want a nice Rolex, then go to your Watchfinder and you're going to pay that premium for that low risk. But everyone else, you just need to know what you're looking for. Everything is a risk. You can go, I've seen LVs in watch windows, and they've had fake bezel inserts in them, and the guys have just kept it in the window, and that's in a watch shop. So I think I'm ranting here. Basically, my whole message is do your research first, buy second. It doesn't matter where you're buying from, always do your research. Even if you're a watch fanatic and you're buying from someone like Watchfinder or Watchmaster, the big guys who you should be able to trust, you still need to do your research and make sure what you're buying is what you really want to be buying. And also, when it comes to the post, is that the actual thing that you bought? Anyway, I'm going to polish this up. Let me know what you think about CWC watches. It's a bit of a new area for me. I'm going to try and find out when this is from. I'm going to let you guys go. Check out the previous video up here. Hit that subscribe button down there and the little bell icon. Check us out on Instagram @BarkandJack, and I'll see you next time. Take care.